Toffee TV is the final word. Weird. Feels weird, this. Talking about a home defeat to, let's be honest, a very, very good side. We did a video last week about what it takes to be. What does it take to be winners? Wasn't even a video. It was just a section in a video, wasn't it? What does it take to be a winner? And you know, and you seen yesterday what it takes. I think that winning mentality of going into somewhere where you're going up against a team who are very confident, very comfortable at home on a great record, and just calming everything down nicely, get everything down to your pace, and then using your, let's be honest, your extra ability, your extra touch of class to win a game of football. And I thought, you know, before we start about all the wrongs of what we think Everton did yesterday, I just thought it was, you've got to say, Chelsea, I thought were well, easily the best team I've seen at Goodison this season. Easily. You got a different opinion?
I thought they did a good side, I think. I'll be honest with you, it was a crap game of football.
It was.
And to me, watching it, I didn't think there was anything between the two teams. I thought after they got the goal, they stepped up a little bit. But even so, I'll be honest with you, I think I was just disappointed with them.
Well, that's fair enough.
Because I've seen how good they are. They still, don't get me wrong, they deserve to win. No question.
What I'm talking about is that in the crucial stage of the season, everyone has that big win. Everyone has that win that gets them over the line.
Yeah.
You know, I remember going back to Man United's first season, they won the Premier League, and it being the Sheffield Wednesday game, 2 goals in extra time. There's loads of ones. I remember when United went to Fulham, it was a dead tough game. There's loads of little moments that you think they've won the league there. And obviously we all know pretty much won the league. But you look at yesterday, even Gary Cahill come out afterwards and went, we knew this was our toughest task. We knew this was going to be our hardest game. It was about winning today. And what I mean about being the best team is, it was almost like they were the big kid and they just put their hand on our head. And that's what I mean. They weren't brilliant, don't get me wrong, they didn't play brilliant, scintillating football. They just got the job done. And
they all know, they're brilliant, they all know the role, don't they?
Yeah.
And that they do. All the other, I mean, what was really good about them was Hazard didn't have a particularly good game, and they still ensured that they got over the line, didn't they? And that's what you aspire to, isn't it? For your team, to be able to go to, which was a tough game on paper, you know. And it was, let's be honest, it was a tough, for 66 minutes, it was a tough game for them. Until he got the second goal, it was a tough game for them. Do you know what I mean? But they still had enough in the tank, didn't they? And that's what they are. They're a fabulous side.
I think the wind was taken out of a lot of our fans' sails when the news of Schneidlin come through, and that he wasn't playing. I think a lot of people started to feel, you know, if you're going to beat the best, you need your best players. And we're already one down with no Seamus Coleman. And I think against the best teams, that shows with some. I think some games you can get away without no Seamus Coleman because Holgate's been a really decent replacement. But I think against the best teams, I think it does show. And if you add another one to that, Snarden, who really, really does make this team tick, you know, because he's
only lost one game when he's played.
Exactly. You watch him when he dictates the pace of the game. He also allows Garner to play his natural role. Barkley's a little bit freer. Barkley obviously, I think, has suffered as well from the lack of no Seamus Coleman as well. But they're all little jigsaw pieces, and if you don't have natural replacements or someone close to them, it just makes it. Everyone almost has to shift round one. And we seen yesterday, Calvert-Lewin comes on the left, Valencia comes on the right, which we thought, you know, we suggested we thought we might see him, and it just sort of stopped the fluidity of the way we've been playing in the last few months.
Yeah, I mean, Schneidlin, since he's come in, he's been the revelation, hasn't he, really? He's dictated the way we play. He's got in amongst it. He's set the tone of the way we play and the pace we play at. But he also mops up that area just in front of the... Particularly, you know, we'd all been a little bit wary when Jackson Williams were put back together.
Yeah.
But when he plays, he just allows them to defend.
Yeah.
they can just defend and he mops up everything in front. So we haven't really had an issue with the pace thing with those two when Schneiderlin's in there. When he's not in there, you seen yesterday a couple of, like for the Hazard chance, we get dragged out and then one ball and he's in. That hasn't really been happening. So it is a whole mental shift. And the other thing is, he knows that he's experienced. He's played a lot of Premier League games. He covers the stuff he does off the ball. There's loads of it. And he does allow, he's one of those players that when he's in the team, other players just relax and just go, right, he's there. We've seen at Anfield when he was missing. Garner and Davies were just all over the place. Barkley was terrible. Garner and Davies couldn't play their normal, or didn't play their normal game. And again, kind of yesterday, we've had these situation, and I know you're going to come onto the team and how it was set up, but just then, he was a big miss for us. He was probably, other than probably Romelu Lukaku, and maybe Ross Barkley, if it didn't work out like that, he would have been one of the three names we had to have in our team to have a chance of getting something, and so it was a big thing.
And as I say, as a fan, I think you walk into the ground and you look at who you're playing against, and you know you've got to have your best players playing. And
I was confident before.
Yeah.
Then when I heard the news on Saturday that he was out, you know, we were like that, weren't we? Let's hope it's a black rumour, but you kind of go, like, it's gonna need to be one of those. And then
and then you're thinking, well, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna bring Barry in? And he didn't. He went for. I mean, on paper it looked like a more attacking team, but it wasn't really. Calvert-Lewin was playing almost at times for me like a wing back role. He was.
But that's testament to Chelsea, isn't it? To how they forced us back, because they're so. Don't forget, they're so. Although saying that, we can. I suppose we can. I was disappointed in Calvert-Lewin, I'll be honest, because I don't want to see him there. He's a forward, so I'm going to base my opinions on him, what he does in around the final third. But the flip side to that is Victor Moses wasn't hardly in the game, and he's been really good for Chelsea.
To be honest, I thought Calvert-Lewin had a good first half, and a lot of people are going to disagree with me. I thought he had a good first half. I just thought he
defensively though.
I just thought he did it. Yeah, he did his job. And at the end of the day, he's a very young lad who's come from Sheffield United and has just been pushed into the first team very, very quickly. And I just thought he was good. I think he's one of those players where I think probably Koeman looks at him as a young lad and goes, I can mould you, I can ask you to do a job, and I know you'll do it. Yeah. Whereas you'll ask someone, you could ask maybe a more senior professional. I think Morales is quite adaptable when he's in the right mood.
Could you see him as back as
far as but he just so you know, you've got that, and then the other side you had Valencia, who was again trying to join in, but it's a jigsaw that just there's no right fit at the moment when it's like that.
In them games, we to beat them, we would have probably needed Schneiderlin in there, we'd have needed Coleman, we'd have probably needed Yannick Bolasie, you know, them kind of players, because they're men physically, the size of them, they're a huge side.
Let me ask you a question then, and I know this has come up before, and I was reading a couple of people's tweets on Twitter last night, not necessarily so like knee-jerkers, just being people with, you know, good sort of opinions. And in a way, this I'm bound to, and I've said it all season about Koeman, is he tends to change changes his team against teams that he thinks are better or look better, and rather than at times just going head to head with them, he's a little bit more conservative and drops off and tries to stifle them. And I thought yesterday, rightly or wrongly, he looked at it like that. And for me, I just thought, and I understand why, and it's almost the away thing as well. It is a case of not like, let's not get beat 4-0, just get beat 2-0. I think it's just a case of, well, we know defensively we're not the fastest in the world, and our first job is to defend, and then we'll try and hit on the break. And I just wonder whether you think that's the right approach or the wrong approach, because I think some people thought yesterday that we should have had a real go at them, like we should have been out the blocks and had a real go at them, and it should have been fast and frantic and right in their faces.
I thought it was.
Well, at the start it was. I mean,
the opening 20 minutes. I thought the opening 20 minutes, both teams I thought it's going to be a cracker. This, both having a go at it, both fast getting in, and then after about 20 minutes, they both kind of went, "Oh, this is shit," and it went through like an end of season flip flop game. That's how it went for the both teams. So, I'm normally quite critical of the way we start games, but I mean, we hit the post within 84 seconds or something. That goes in. What a start! And we could have been talking a totally different. Well, we would have been. Because we'd have been ahead at home.
Yeah.
We could have sat a little bit and hit them more. I don't know. It's difficult because he hasn't got his best team. And I'm not sure he does always set up. I think people look at it. I think for some of the arguments, it's dead easy when you get beat. You look at it and go, well, you should have got... Well, who, for argument's sake, who picked the team in what way?
Well, I mean, I'm not even saying it would have been a different team. I just think the approach would have been a little bit different.
What way in the approach? Because what he tried to do was he put 3 strikers on. We started the game with 3 strikers against the best team in the land. So that's not negative. And I just think they pushed us back. I don't think it was... I don't think we were told to go into those positions. I just think the team just went back. I mean, Roberto Martinez done this a few years ago against Arsenal. Just said, and against United that year, we beat both of them. We beat them 3-0 and 2-0, and we sat back in both games and just basically defended for our lives, hit them on the break, and luckily for us that day, we got goals at the right time, and we were enabled to. It enabled us to beat them. I just think if Calvert-Lewin puts that in, we're winning 1-0, and I think we,
Yeah, and I think it is a defensive approach, but it is because he understands the limitations of his team. The back four, certainly 3 of the back 4, are not getting any younger, and the centre backs lack a lot of pace. They can't push up as much.
I don't want my defence on the halfway line. I think how it should be a nice curve.
Yeah.
And I think when Schneiderlin, this is the other thing with Schneiderlin in. When Schneiderlin's in there, it enables our 2 centre-backs to split further, and then it enables our full-backs to go on. Mason Holgate, as good as he is trying to get forward, he's not Seamus bombing on forwards yet, is he? So he's still learning the game. I think it was his 13th, 14th Premier League start, so he's not had loads. I think on the other side, Baines is more conservative. However, he was still trying to get forward yesterday. I just think the issue for us is certainly the front 3.
Yeah.
And you can put Ross Barkley in that as well, because he's the one who's supposed to be driving us forward. And when he's not on his game, he's another one. And there was no movement yesterday. And I know people, listen, for every Barkley criticism, I can throw a Lukaku criticism into the same melting pot, because it's about move. I watched Costa yesterday, right? Costa didn't have a great game, but our 2 centre backs knew they'd been in the game yesterday, as did a few other people.
Well, you watched. I mean, I was just gonna stick with the centre backs for a minute.
Yes, go on.
I was just gonna say, but I watched Gary Cahill actually yesterday, and the amount of times he found himself on the edge of coming onto our box was unbelievable, and you just think,
but we were marking.
You just wish we had a little bit of that, just a centre back who could come out.
But I think, I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right. But also, when you're looking at that, we know that that's a win. These are the team that's going to lift the Premier League title. These are the team that have £1 billion in the making. This is a team that have been doing it year in, year out. Okay, they were minging last season, but there was reasons for that. So that's what we're trying to get to. So they do have those abilities. We're a team, let's be honest, that we've got half a dozen players out yesterday who could have made a difference, possibly, to that side. Your Coleman would have made a big difference, Yannick Bolasie would have made a big difference to that. Funes Mori potentially might or might not, we don't know. We've also, Mo Bezic could have gone and played in midfield. Morgan Schneiderlin would most definitely have made a big difference to that. So, sorry, there's 5 straight off. James McCarthy with the pressing. There's half a dozen players. Now, you could argue, Ped, that with the exception of Funes Mori, the other 5 start.
Yeah, in some capacity.
They're most definitely in that squad. Everton can't afford half a dozen players out of a squad going up against a team that I'm not. Did they have anybody else? I don't know, because they brought a bloody World Cup winner on. So
and they've got Willian
exactly, and they've got Batshuayi who cost 35 million, doesn't get on the pitch. So I know what you're saying, but that's almost like it's almost like when you've started your extension on your house and you're looking at the 1-3 doors down. That's all done and lovely, and you're going, I wish mine was like that. Well, it may get there if we carry on what we're doing.
Yeah. I'm not overly critical of yesterday.
No.
I'm you know, well aware of what we were up against. I mean,
it was a barometer, wasn't it?
I mean, the midfield. I mean, one of the things in midfield, obviously, there's no Schneidlin. You give Garner a man marking job against Hazard, and he did it brilliantly.
Yeah, he
did it absolutely brilliantly. He kept Hazard out the game. I mean, I was watching him, and you know he's going to be all round the pitch. But it was at one point, and he was at right back, and I was thinking, what? I was like, following him all around the pitch. But he did that. He stuck to it, and he was brilliant. And you seen Hazard actually get really frustrated, starting to pull Garner down, and obviously trying to win the fouls.
And getting booked,
and the referee did quite well on that. Although I will come to one which massive. Although I did like it a little bit, I must admit. If we did it, I would be rather pleased with it. I'll come to that in a minute. So Garner got sort of taken out of the midfield, and that left Tom Davies and Ross Barkley. Ross Barkley having to play more of an unorthodox role and being more of an all-round centre midfielder. I mean, first of all, Tom Davies was absolutely wonderful. I mean, I honestly think that could be his best game he's played for Everton yesterday. He got man just because. I mean, he doesn't.
Who he's up against?
He's not phased one tiny bit. He's smashing Costa.
What a challenge!
But he's doing it in such a good way. He's not fake. And listen, if you imagine being, we're all here going, I'd love to play in the Premier League, and I'd love to do this and love to do that. Imagine being a Premier League football. You're 18, you're playing for your team, you're playing in a massive game, and you're going up against Costa, who you know already is a little horror when he's on the football pitch. I mean, let's be honest, we'd all love him, but he's a horror. And you're smashing him on the edge of the box, and you know,
fairly as well,
and you know you've got to be exactly like you've got to be absolutely spot on. You can't afford to give away free kicks and places like that when you've got world class players. And number two, last week he played against West Ham, made a perfectly good tackle in the middle of the park, and the referees give a foul. And you've got all those little things.
And if he gets a booking there,
exactly, he's carrying it for the rest of the game. But he's done it, and he did it like 3 times in the game, all spot on. Listen, he's not perfect. He has little things to his game. I've seen little digs at him on the go. And imagine why is it different treatment for him when he does something wrong with Barkley? About 6 years, mate. That's why. But the point is, he was brilliant yesterday, and he really had to carry that centre midfield at times, because Garner was away doing another job somewhere else, and Ross is not that kind of player.
I thought even though I give Barkley 4 out of 10 because offensively when he got in those positions he was shocking. His decision making was horrendous, but I thought those two as a pair done quite well really in the destruction type bit. Ross broke a couple of great challenges, but Tom Davies was just exceptional. He was absolutely who he's up against matters. He's a quality footballer. You're looking at that, they're a tough midfield, aren't they? You've got Pedro in there and Hazard, and you've got fantastic footballers. And you're right, he isn't phased in the slightest. He's in there winning tackles, getting the ball, popping it off. He come on at Stamford Bridge, 5-0 down, and was our best player. So it didn't really surprise me how good he is, because we've known that nothing phases him. And the thing with Tom Davies is what separates him from Ross Barkley is he's not in there to do the skills and all that like Ross. Yeah, he's got that in his locker, as we've seen against City, but he'll just go out and still run around and put tackles.
I thought that was a real true reflection of what he actually is yesterday, or what he can be. When you give him one job to do, go and when he played for the under-23s, he was the top dog, he was the captain, he was the main man, he run the team sort of thing. And then he comes into the first team where suddenly he's gone from the top pecking to the bottom, sort of, and that might be, I'm not saying it's hard, but you've got to establish yourself, haven't you, again? And the fact that he comes into the team and he's not phased, but yesterday he was almost like, not that he doesn't normally, but he looked like, I'm meant to be here. This is what I'm meant to be here for, and this is what I'm going to do. And he did it, and he whacks Costa, and Costa goes down and giving it all the rolling round treatment. He just looks at him and just gets on with his game. Not, some players might be a little bit, better go and check if he's alright and all that, and that's where players can get to the psyche and into people's heads. Well, better not do that again. You know, he'll have a go at me. He just looked at him, just got on with him. I've done my job.
He's got in the side and he stayed in the side, and that's the biggest thing. And we've said it a few times. He's the easy drop, isn't he? He's a kid. He's the easy drop, and he's been unable to be dropped. You know, Ronald Koeman, in about when we were banging on about getting Tom Davies in the side, was kind of October, November, going. Well, not ready.
But I think it was actually early December.
Well, even in December, not ready. And so he's put him in, gone, all right then, let's have a look. Because obviously in training he's looked good. And he's almost been undroppable since he's got in that side. And yesterday was another example of just how good he is. And I think the thing with Tom Davies is, certainly the way I look at him is, I've got no fears about him. He just goes in and plays his game. Where I think this the problem with Ross is that we look to him to be a match winner all the time, and it takes away from. He'll do some other stuff that a midfielder should do, but people aren't asked about that because they want to see the shiny stuff. And I think yesterday in the first half, Ross done the other stuff that midfield players do. If Ross was called, if that would have been Liam Walsh playing in there yesterday doing what Ross done in the first half, everyone would have gone, yeah, he's done all right there. I think the stuff that we need Ross to do, the extra stuff, he done really poorly.
The problem is though, and the problem is that there are plenty of players out there who can do both stuff now, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? And that's the level he's got to be at. He has got to be able to do both things, or at least just do the shiny stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you're looking for games like that, and you're right. You're looking at him, and you're thinking, you're giving the ball away stupidly. You're falling back into those poor habits of just giving the ball. Just 5-yard passes yesterday. He wasn't getting right, and I think a lot of. I mean, yesterday a lot of it came down to pressing. They were on him really quickly, and he was almost just like,
he's got to do that quicker, doesn't he?
That's what I'm saying. It was like, that's what I'm saying. It's like rabbits in the headlights. He's getting called on the ball because 2 men are pressing him. Suddenly he's found all his options closed. Where what he's got to be doing is going bang, 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 and almost creating that extra yard.
Tom Davies does really well. He'll just pop it off. Yeah, he'll just pop it off first time, but he can use both feet. He's not scared to just play a wall past Davies, and it even might just be there. But Ross always wants lots of touches on the ball. It comes in, he wants to stop it, he wants to roll it, and that can be okay when you're trying to open a defence up out to the box. But it shouldn't always be that.
Not when you're in your own half.
But if you're marking him now, you know he shouldn't take 3 touches. Very rarely he'll just pop it back off. So you can let him get a touch, then you can hit him. Whereas if he pops that off, you're thinking, hang on, do I go? If he's going to make me look a mug here, if I don't, and he plays it down the corner and goes, I've gone too tight, I'm done here. As a midfield player, you can look and go, he's going to take 2 touches, I can get over to him. Yeah. And that's that. You see, my thing with Ross, right, is that, and I've had it on Twitter, people, you know, I don't think, I was sick, as you know, yesterday, and I was pissed off at the end and all that, but as I was on my timeline, I had a few messages, then as I started scrolling down, his name was the one that came up every time. So I just put a tweet, Ross Barkley, nil Chelsea 3, because that's how it seems to me with Ross. And people say, I've had a couple today going, you're overprotective of him, you don't say a bad word about Ross. Well, I will say a bad word about Ross, but I also don't pin every defeat on him, because we've got £100 million centre forward there that no one would know was even be in the game yesterday. If you'd have walked in and didn't know Romelu Lukaku yesterday, you'd sit down and go, who's this up front here? Because he was useless. Now, people can, but it's alright for him because we haven't created service for him, so we can be crap. Costa had no service and yet still bullied and run around. So the thing with Ross Barkley is he was a 4 out of 10 yesterday. It was a really poor performance. But what will help him, and this is what needs to happen, is that we need Gylfi Sigurdsson. We need Thiel. I don't think they're after Tielemans, but someone like that who we can go, you're not good enough at the moment, go and sit back here, and we can replace like for like. The problem with Ross is we ain't got anyone like for like, so he's got to be at that. Why can't Ross Barkley just be 7 out of 10? Why is that not good enough for some people? He wasn't yesterday, he was 4. But that's the issue I've got. It's almost like we want to. I know why people want it. They want him to be Zidane. And he's not.
My problem is, though, something you've just said, is that because of the modern day game, the way teams play now, it's all about pressing, is that when he does give two touches, not only does it allow the first person to come, it allows the second person to come, and suddenly his options have been closed down very quick, and you're just thinking, Ross, just pop it off and get it back, and just keep the ball. I
agree.
Just keep the ball moving. And you mentioned Ron there, and he started the game all right, and there was a couple.
He had that good shot that just whistled.
He had a couple of chances in the first half.
Could have done better with the Calvert-Lewin one.
What annoyed me? I mean, him and Ross were crap yesterday, and it annoys me because it's all the talks about him, Ron, and Ross to a degree with this contract, and all I keep hearing is these idiots in the. Well, I suppose it's their job. People all the time banging on about. Certainly Romelu Lukaku leaving the club. It's obviously the same people like Matt Law who he obviously works for Chelsea. I'm sorry, but he obviously works for Chelsea, and we've seen journalists struck off for that kind of thing. I seen stuff. Yeah, I seen an article written about Tom Davies, and about Ross, and yet and something about Rom, about the game, and it had like a headline about Rom on. I'm thinking. It wasn't even him who wrote it, but he was like retweeting it, going, "Yeah, this is spot on." I was like, "Why are you trying to sell? You've been doing this for years. You're corrupt, lads, because you obviously work for Chelsea."
Allegedly.
But I hate seeing all these people talking about them. But on the same hand, why is it that when we have big games, these players that are getting talked about, playing for these big clubs, go missing? They're the ones you need in these kind of games. These are the ones who separate you. These are the ones that we talk about all the time. Oh, he's great, him. And then when we come to these big games, like we did the derby, they just let you down. And that's what's more annoying. It makes us look like mugs. We see them week in and week out and go, they're great them. And when it comes to this big game, and where everyone's watching, so we're on Sky, it's a big game, and everyone's like, yeah, 100 million for him. You don't laugh, aren't you? Like, it was like, I think it was even tweeted in the second half, is he trying to get his value down today? Because that's what it felt like at the time. What made it worse was, for me, about Lukaku yesterday, was those two little incidents against Luis, where the ball bounced a couple of times, and I was thinking, you've got him. Yeah. You have got him. Just bully him. Just bully David Luiz. You will take him the cleaners. And he did it twice, and that was it.
What annoyed me was both of their centre-backs were on bookings with about an hour of the game to go. Never once did he try and get it down and run past them and make them have to commit. We had one, was it Ross, second half? Might have been Ross or Valencia it was, where he's runner, Cahill, who'd been booked, and Cahill just goes like that and lets him run past him because he's thinking, you should have been sent off, by the way, when he scored, because he dived into the crowd, which is a booking. Yeah. But he jumped out the way because he's thinking, I can't touch him. Yeah. I can't touch him. But why wasn't Ron doing that? And don't get me wrong,
Luis did it in the second half.
It's not always about Lukaku. Don't get me wrong. He's got 24 goals and he's a great goal scorer. I've got no issue with that. But we were in that game as much as you can be in a game at 0-0. So that's when this is level for everyone who just thinks I'm giving Barkley a free ride here. I'm not, because this is at him as well. Yeah. That's them moments when these two players they're probably our two cherries you'd look at and go, they're our key players. That's these moments when one of them should win you the game, but it's not even like Barkley was threading them through and Ron wasn't running. It's not like Ron was knocking them down and Barkley wasn't running. Neither of them had any impact at all. And you can't play Liverpool and do the same. You can't play Manchester United at Old Trafford and do the same. You've got it's not one game where you go, it's a big game and he just hasn't really performed in it. You'd hold your hands up and go, not every time will them players play well.
A couple of seasons ago, of course, last season, we played them in the Cup and Ron destroys them.
Yeah, it was amazing.
But there's your benchmark. There's your benchmark. As I've said this before about those players, it's your benchmarks.
Man City at home, a pair of them destroyed City.
I love Ron to bits as a footballer. And even the thing yesterday, he brought the young lad out on the wheelchair, and he does buy into a lot of that, and you can tell he's, maybe his heart is elsewhere, but still, go and do.
I said to you, didn't I, when we done the preview? I said to you, because he were crap at West Ham last weekend, and I said to you, I guarantee you he'll be amazing on Sunday, because I fully believed he'd go out and go to Conte, who's watching him, watch what I can.
Yeah.
Now, people might not like me talking like that he wants away, but I think we all know where he wants to go play.
Listen, you don't need exclusive or pop noodle-head journalists on Twitter
exactly.
to tell us that he wants
so
away.
I thought he would go. It sounds a bit. Did you say him as his audition or someone?
Of course it is.
So I thought he'd go out. Conte's 6 foot away on the touchline watching him. He's going to be showing him that he can do what Costa does. And I was thinking, even said to you, I hope we win, but he has a crap game, didn't I? Because it might mean that they won't come in for him. Because ideally we want him for next season because he will get a lot of our. And if you put another 3 or 4 better players around him, he'll get even more and we'll be more potent. Yesterday, if I'm Conte, I'm watching Costa bully 2 centre-backs. And alright, almost unselfishly, because he didn't get any chances really, Costa. He made one himself, which Jag should have done a little bit better with when he blazed it over. I don't think he had another attempt at goal in that,
That was
really.
a foul, by the way.
Yeah, but I mean, he got that chance himself. He didn't really have another one, but he didn't stop running.
No.
And he didn't stop dragging people, and he didn't stop making it after work. Where at the other end...
Even when he runs, when he's on one centre-back, and he runs to the other centre-back, and he knows that they're both terrible on the ball, and he forces them to just hoof it up the pitch, and one of their centre-backs mops it up, and then they've got the ball back. His job's done.
But Rom was the polar opposite. So, like you said, the first 25 minutes he was alright, but then he just faded out the game, and I don't know why is that. Why is he? Is it just the fact that he? And listen, we know he's never going to be Costa because he isn't that type of player. Costa's never going to be Rom, is he? Costa's never going to pick the ball up and be able to face a defender up and leave him for dead and put it in. And we know the abilities, but I just thought yesterday I expected a bit more hard work because I've seen it in other games when he hasn't played well. But saying all that, the biggest glaring thing for me yesterday watching it was we don't have any creativity in our team, and that is if there's an area, and I know we're going to talk about another big area in a minute that needs sorting out in the summer. That is, Koeman kind of alluded to it the other day, didn't he? He said after Ron we don't know when he scores goals, and we need other players. But yesterday, I think just watching it, say you would have had Sigurdsson in there yesterday, or I don't know, there's loads of players you could get. Even Wayne Rooney, but those kind of players who can create for
something who can open a team up.
Because if Rom stopped, where kind of stopped that?
Yeah, that's it.
And that's no good. There's nothing to even bring off the bench to help. And the other thing, I suppose, the last thing on, and it's kind of defending Lukaku, is the kid's played every minute of every game, and he just looked tired. He looks tired because he's not had imagine if he would have had if we'd have had another centre forward yesterday. Imagine being able to go to Ron. Listen,
you're not a centre forward.
A
real one.
He was a real one. We could have said to Ron, "You're on the bench today. 35 minutes left. Thought this is your time."
Well, not yesterday, but
in games, in certain games, last half an hour, come on and go and win this for us. When you're fresh, you feel them because we see him.
We can say that about you can say that a lot of players, can't you? I mean, that's one of the big problems. Yeah, they were both crap, but there you go.
Let's be honest, most were.
Yeah.
To be fair and say not crap, but I don't think anyone other than Davies and Garner for me could really walk off that pitch and go, I played well today. I think the others just fell well.
But again, though, it's all about the changes as well. They can bring Fabregas on, they can bring Willian on, and they can, you look at the changes.
I mean, the goal.
Well, before we talk about the goal, I want to talk about this free kick, right?
Come on.
We get a free kick. Actually, no, it was after they scored, wasn't it? So they scored a worldie, right? Which
was a worldie.
It was a worldie. Now, people can talk about him spinning off Jagielka and the keeper being a yard off his line and all that. Listen, it's absolutely amazing. Listen, you need to have a name like Pedro to be able to score goals like that, let's be honest. It was a worldie, and sometimes you just got to stand up and say, amazing. What an amazing goal.
It's the only way they were going to... It looked like the only way they were going to...
What an amazing goal that was. And that just changed the whole game. Everyone, with 25 minutes to go, all our players went, I don't think we can get back into this. Because you could tell...
It's all about winning, because we haven't seen that, have we?
No,
we haven't seen that.
I mean, but that's what I was saying about how good a performance it was by Chelsea. They just kept us there, and all it needed was that one goal, and you think, we've got to... It was almost like, we're going to have to open ourselves up to this now. And they're going to bring and players know they've got the silence. But anyway, we get this free kick anyway, and this almost illustrated the Chelsea way of doing things. He gives this free kick on the edge of the box. I said it yesterday on Instant Reaction. It was like something out of wrestling, right? The lad paces it out, which he should have been booked for and should have been sent off for, because he'd already been booked, right? So he should have been sent off. He paced that free kick out and basically told the ref he was a liar. So he should have been sent off. And that's not me being a knobhead. He should have been sent off for that, right? And while he's doing that, there's another player rubbing out the line.
So, yeah.
But it was like something out of wrestling where you distract the referee and the other one's giving him I was like, and they're all the glad, and then it was like a pantomime because all the glad see going, he's grabbing the line out, and then you think, oh God. In retrospect, I think feels stupid, but he rubbed the line out, and then they all went forward 2 yards, and then it hit someone in the wall and went over or whatever it was, and you're thinking, how the fuck has the ref not caught? Like the ref just sort of went, and the lines were just standing there. Like they always do, and you're just thinking, how have you not seen that? How have one of you not seen? And I'm not saying like it's a massive decision in the game, but I'm just saying this is the psyche of obviously what you need to have. But number one, it was brilliant. Number one, it was like despicable, and then I don't know, it was just. But as I say, he should have been sent off for that. For doing that, what he did, because for pacing, he should have been booked. Isn't it? Yeah. Should have been booked, and you always think if you'd done that and you weren't on a yellow, you would have been booked for that. But rubbing out the line and no one getting onto it was just
no one apart from 14,000.
Yeah, and then obviously they go down the other end. Garner gives away a free kick. And then
on our free kick, just very quickly. Why Baines just not take them anymore? Normally Lukaku scored one free kick and about 700.
Because at some point,
and then Morales has one that he nearly hits out the guy. It's just
because at some point, someone told Lane Baines that he didn't have to take them, and he just went, "Yeah, I'm fine with that," even though he's the best penalty and the best free kick taker. And some point, they get a free kick which somehow ends up in the back of the net, and it's 2-0, and obviously they go and get the third goal. The goalkeeper. Let's just talk about the goalkeeper. Certainly for that second. Do you know what? I couldn't even see that second goal properly, and I knew the goalie had made a mistake. Just by the. Do you know? Because obviously where I'm Gladys seat, I'm looking right down, and there's loads of players. But just by the way it went, and I knew the goalkeeper. You could tell the goalkeeper would have had to have made a mistake. The ball was straight at him. Yeah. The free kick was straight at him. He could have run up to it and kicked it away. That's how much it was coming to him. It bounces off his arm, and Kale's there to just knock it in.
That just hits Kale, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, it just hits him, doesn't it? And the game's over. And the game is over in a split second.
They had one in the first half, and Gary Kale's shot was straight at him.
It's on the chest.
And it bounced out, and luckily Ashley Williams hooked it away before Costa, I think it might have been, was coming in on it. And that was a straight shot, and he can't hold it. He just makes me... I've just... corners, he doesn't know where he is off set pieces, but that goal was embarrassing because we at 1-0 you're in the game, you know, we could get a corner and get an equaliser from nowhere. You know, we done it against United, we stayed in the game down the at Goodison and got a penalty later on. Swansea at home, we score later on, you know, we've got that. And I know it mightn't have made any difference because it might have just ended 1-0 because they did keep us like that, but
it does make a difference.
You've thrown the game away, haven't you? Yeah. And it's a bad goalkeeping error. So you know, he was brought back in for whatever reason. Whether it is... I mean, I think he's been brought back in because I think the manager's gone after the Burnley game and Joel gave the pen away. I think the manager's gone, right, he's not going to be the goalkeeper next season. And I think he's just saying to Stecklenburg, right, there's your next 5 and you're not going to be the keeper either. And so he's just kind of given his mate a game to just play some games because he's probably trained hard over... Because he lost his place getting injured, didn't he? So he's probably given him some game. It was really bad goalkeeping. Straight at him. He should be held and that. It wasn't blasted. It's just really bad goalkeeping, and it makes you look and think, you know,
it's basic goalkeeping.
It's going to lead me on to the Tuesday topic.
But it's basic goalkeeping, isn't it? It's getting something.
No free kick at him.
It's getting something behind the ball. It's being behind the ball and just taking it into your chest and
sending it up the field, and everyone pushes up. They're still a bit nervy because it's 1-0. But they don't. They give them the second goal, and then it was easy for them after that. Third one was a good goal.
Third one was a scruffy FIFA goal, wasn't it?
It's a great goal. The ball back, the run by Fabregas, lovely ball by Costa, and then Willian leaves Holgate going to sleep, and this is a thing that he's got to be wary of, because he's with Willian when he sets off, and he just lets him run off him. It's a great ball back and a lovely little finish, and it was never ever a 3-0. It was a massively inflated scoreline. 1-0 would have been right, because there was not really much between the two teams. They were better, and they deserved to win, but 3-0 just left it, made it look like they battered us, and they hadn't.
For me, there's a lot of people. You get different ways of looking at it. People being angry and all that kind of thing. To me, what it was a lot. I hear people, on phone ins and things like that, going, get rid of the manager and all. I had a couple. There was a couple. It might have been messing about. Honestly, it might have been just dickheads tweeting in. I don't know, texting in. But I think what's got to be remembered is this season was about jumping from 11th to a European place. That was this year. It was getting rid of all the dead wood, as many as possible. Not as many as should have, as I'll mention in a minute. But it was about getting rid of as many dead wood, getting his own players in, almost like tier 1 players, not like we want tier 3 players. At the moment we're buying tier 1 players like Ashley Williamses, Yannick Bolassis, those like tier 1 to take us to the next level, get us into Europe. Then we can start looking at the next tier up, and then maybe the next tier up. So there's people who've come in, done the jobs, and they might be moved on in the summer. As I've said to you before, I wouldn't be surprised if Ashley Williams left in the summer and went back to Swansea or something. That would not surprise me. Done his job for a year, done what he was brought to come in and do, and then said, thanks, is your next thing. Possible, could happen. And that we've achieved 7th place. We're in Europe. I think too many people are looking for this golden sunset where we were suddenly going to jump from 11 to a Euro. We were playing yesterday the champion. I think, and you think, and most people think they will be the champions.
3 home games against teams in the bottom 4.
Yeah, so they will be. They're a very, very good side, and really for both games we haven't laid a glove on them. They've just put us there and just gone.
Beat us 8-0.
Gone. We've won like that.
Berg's being in goals twice.
Yeah, so I think people, you've got to take it for what it is. They're a very, very good side. We played them the first time when we were a bit not really sure who we are, and we've played them the second time when we've been without key players that we really, really need. I'm not saying it would have made a difference, but we would have had a bit.
I think if we'd have played them 3 weeks ago, when we were still chasing that Euro, and the focus was there, I think it'd have been a different game. I do. But they're a top side.
I think people have got to come. Just got to be just a little bit of perspective though on where Koeman asked for European football this season. That's what he asked for. He's achieved it. We're not all. Listen, we haven't got the balloons out and the party hats and the open top bus. That was his goal. Okay, it's not winning a trophy. Fair enough, but that was his goal. We'll be in the Europa League. Well, we'll certainly be in the qualifiers next season, and we'll go from there. You've got to be in it to win it at the end of the day, haven't you? It's the next level. It's the next level, and that's now the benchmark. The benchmark in the last couple of years has just been, let's be happy and smiley. I think that's all the benchmark was. Now the benchmark is European football, and hopefully winning things. And people just need that little bit of perspective.
It's hard, isn't it? Because I don't know what some people want. They know what they want, but I don't know how they see it possible so quickly. And then you've got other people who don't see anything possible, no matter what.
No,
because I was having a conversation the other day about players we could bring in, and who I'd like. Someone said, who would you like us to sign? So I put a few players down, and then other people got no chance of getting them. What? So we should spend all summer trying to get players we shouldn't. We've got no chance of getting. So we and then someone else said, and then think the rest of the top, everyone above us is going to strengthen. So all right, so what then? So we just stay. We're 7th, and that's it. With the bet, and then if we said we're going to hope to finish 7th, that's the best we can get. Then you get accused of having no ambition. So I think everyone's. And
then on the flip side of that,
it's a mess.
You'd have I see people. I love Twitter. It's such a barometer for people's own psyche. And you see people going, see Aidan McGeady won't play the year at Preston, probably could have done a job for us there. You're like, what are you talking about?
And Conor McElhenney.
What are you talking about? Yeah, it's like...
Conor McElhenney deserves a run in the team. We haven't got goals in us. He's scoring in League 2. Or whatever it is. You can't, you know...
It's like, yeah, it's like...
Valencia's not good. Valencia's not good enough to most people. A fella that plays for Ecuador, scoring all kinds of goals.
It just makes me laugh because I see stuff like that. I see doing the other ones like Delafeu, and I know. Listen, you see him and you go, well, we did have him, and he didn't really do anything for us. And we had McGeady last year; he was terrible. And we had. They are where they are, you know.
Kevin Morales is the thing. Is a barometer for me, right, of what we've got at the moment, and that is that he's not good enough for that next level. Yeah. He's a good player, and on his day he can scale those heights. However, he's got no consistency, so therefore he's the level below, which is we've got that, and you know, maybe that's what Ross Barkley is. Maybe Ross Barkley will be that player that is really good with loads of talent. And occasionally he will hit the levels that a Man City would have or that a Chelsea would have, but too often it's at the next level below. Maybe that's all Ross will be.
Someone like Ross, I don't think you'll know till you fill the team with better players. But it just makes me laugh that every time you're thinking, well, the likes of McGeady and likes of Delafeu and all these, but if they weren't good enough against normal everyday Premier League teams, what difference would they have made coming off the bench?
Jerry for me is still slightly different because I still think he's got that ability to win you the game. Where McGeady has got loads of skill, right? But
he's at his level.
Never done it.
He found this level. One player who. What the fuck was Rooney County doing on the pitch yesterday? Let's just get it out there. What was he doing? Honest to God, right? I thought he was being man-marked when he came on, but then I realised it was his arse. Honest to God, what the fuck? Honest to God.
I've said before, mate, he's the worst.
Was this a stunt by Koeman to just like tell Monsieur?
I love that theory as well. I've seen it this morning. It was a tactical stunt by Koeman to put them on and to play Calvert-Lewin there because he wants a lot of money. Yeah. He's getting a lot of money anyway. It wasn't a tactical stunt.
I just didn't.
Coney's come on because we were
looking for another attack.
1 down or 2 down. I can't remember when he come on, but he come on.
We were 1
down. So we put Coney on because he's a centre forward.
Did he touch the ball?
He did the first thing done, he went past a couple of players and then that was he didn't touch it again.
I think I had my head in my hands.
He didn't touch it again.
I think I had my head in my hands, but
he didn't touch it again.
Just a weird sub really, wasn't it? Because without going on about it, he's a centre forward and he each brought him on for it. But you just thought, why not bring like Lookman on or
I thought just back to the game, which we went away from hours ago. I thought potentially it was a crap. After about 50 minutes, Calvert-Lewin looked done, and he was offering nothing going forward. And I thought that might have been the time to put Morales on while it was still 0-0 on the left, and just gone like, let's see if we can get up the pitch a little bit because Kevin Morales will take the ball, and sometimes he can produce in those games, can't he? To leave it until we went behind when nothing was really. I thought the Koeman could have been a little bit more proactive there.
After an hour, I would have took Ross Barkley and brought Morales on and played him centrally.
Centre midfield.
Yeah, honestly, I would have.
But then he wouldn't.
Maybe it just like that. Maybe it just.
It'd have been better taking Ross Barkley off and putting John Joe Kenny in there and go and snap a few. See, that was the thing I couldn't understand either. When it went 3-0, there was
still one.
There was 7 or 8 minutes. I was 2, wasn't he? Brought Morales on, but there was 8 minutes left or something. Why didn't you just put Kenny on and go, the game's dead, let's get you a few minutes here.
That's what I'm saying, he had 1 sub left.
Go and put a couple of tackles in and just get yourself integrated into the game. Didn't matter, did it? We were 3-0 down, it made no difference. Just get a little bit of experience there, but...
No, it was just seeing Coney. Honestly, it reminds me...
This is a fella though that would have...
It reminds me of Ferguson when he run on his testimonial.
Yeah, but he had a few headers.
Yeah, he was better. Ferguson was better.
Ferguson was better.
But it was just like this.
Fella, that shouldn't really be. Like what have we been running on?
Do you know what? What makes it worse is I went in the club shop and they said they didn't have any Triple X shorts left. Gutted.
They had 2 pairs stitched together. I just think it was a mad one. What's really mad is that he wouldn't even be here, would he? If Palace thing would have gone through. I think see that to me and I know we're doing this in the Tuesday topic, but that one, to me, probably would have made sense to put like a Dowell on or a Sambu on the bench. You know, I know it's a kid, but
bit of a reward.
Just to run
bit
around.
Of a reward.
Yeah, just go, tell you what.
Yeah,
10 minutes left, go and run around. Go and run up there, put them under a little bit of pressure. I know you're raw, but so what?
Even a message.
I can maybe understand my best.
But he played 90 minutes last week and he's a first team player.
I know, but maybe just wants another, maybe
yeah.
But I just think one of the likes of the Dal, or even Liam Walsh, and just go ahead. It's been great for the 23s. The league's won. Go and get in the middle of the pitch last 10 minutes and just show what you're all about.
Yeah.
But anyway.
No, it was what it was.
The barometer, you know, we can't sit. Listen, we've won 8 on the run before Sunday at home, so it does feel weird sitting here talking about a home defeat. But if you're going to lose at home, it was a game when it was irrelevant, really. We're not. The only thing it's done, it's probably said, yeah, we can't finish higher than 7th, really. 6th maybe at a push because Arsenal then lost. But if you're going to lose when it doesn't matter. And it didn't really, in the context of everything, it didn't really matter.
And I just hope with 3 games left.
Do you just before we finish, did you see signs that it didn't mean as much? I did. Yeah. After about 20 minutes, I'd seen it at West Ham last week. And so it's I suppose it's how we create.
Well, I just thought with 3 games left, we just, we finished the season with a bit of respectability. We said last week we could go and finish all 5, and now you're thinking, no, we win one of them. Just because that's just the general feeling.
3 games, like we can beat.
Snarden's not going to be back.
We can beat Swansea comfortably. Yeah. We can beat Watford comfortably. And listen, I watched Arsenal yesterday, and it should have been about 9-0. That's well, not about 9-3.
No, it should have been.
So it is what it is.
No, it is, and
I want to get above 60 points.
Let's just hope we finish. It was just a bit of a. Yesterday was the game against the best team in the land, and we just get on with it. Yeah. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments. Obviously disappointing to get beat, but at the same time, that's the benchmark, and now it's up to the manager and Steve Walsh and Mashiri to go out and find the players that can get us somewhere near that, closer and to be competitive in those games against those top clubs. Because and by play,
it can be done. Palace,
I know it can be done. This time, though, it can be done, and by players who relish the chance to go up against these and a dead snide like Tom Davies, which is what basically we live for. Snideness.
Snideliness.
Thanks for watching Toffee TV. We'll see you later.